Peter Schiff never mentions this stuff. And I was thinking about the whole topic, and it's like much more than Peter Schiff. But like Peter Schiff, listening to him over and over again say the same things, which is true, but still he doesn't mention the other realities. And so I was thinking more about it, and I have to discuss the issues more because let's say we went back to a much more free market system like the classical liberal system. Okay, which is basically what the Libertarian Party in America advocates and what the ultra liberals in Europe advocate. And they're absolutely right. We should go back to an ultra liberal, classical liberal system. But the system don't want to do that. So, and also the system that the establishment is supporting, which is the current system, is going to collapse. However, I've made the point that all they have to do is reset the entire financial system, and they can just reset the financial, meter everywhere, and then just keep everything under control and just start the financial clock again. Which also brings up the point of David Icke and also Alex Jones and all the truths that they talk about, which is the more sinister plans of some of the elites, some of them, not most of them, which want to just totally, institute a totally evil system. But it's not all of the elites who want to do that with, the microchipping and the nano, biotechnology and the total computer matrix and all of that. So the big L libertarians are right that we should have an ultra-liberal, classical liberal system where the only function of government is the police, the self-defense, and the court system. And so, that brings up the other point. What about the free market anarchists and the free market classical liberals, total free marketers? Why aren't they right? So that's a good point. That's a good question. Why aren't the anarchists right? Because philosophically, the anarchists are right more than the free market anarchists. Because I'm talking about economic anarchists. I'm not talking about bottle throwing jerk-offs who like to break windows, just to spite Coca-Cola. So I'm talking about true free market anarchists, economic anarchists who just believe in private free market enterprise and trade and commerce between individuals, families, businesses, companies, etc., and peoples and countries, lands. So why aren't the anarchists right? Right. They are right, except why couldn't we do it? Why couldn't we do free market anarchism and just eliminate government totally? Well, besides the point that governments don't want to eliminate government, that's one point. The other point is that governments could voluntarily give up their power and just convert the system to free market anarchism / free market classical liberalism and totally private free market. Except if they did that, what would happen? See, we don't really know what would happen because, obviously, right away, everyone would have to provide their own self-defense, which is philosophically and practically, it's a very good thing, and people should already do that anyway, and people should already buy legal, illegal guns, and also whatever other legal defenses they want, and like provide their own self-defense, because self-defense is totally lawful. But but we don't know what would happen if government gave up its power and just converted the system to free market anarchism, because the same thing might happen that already happened to begin with, because we already had a free market to begin with whenever creation or evolution started. So, so we already had a total free market, either during the caveman dinosaur era or whenever everything started, and it all turned into this. So we had a free market, it naturally turned into this. Whatever happens is natural, because it happened naturally, it had to happen naturally. So this is what happened from anarchy. This is anarchy. This is the result of anarchy, what we have now. So, but the question is, what if we went back to the start? Well, we can't go back to the start, but what if we eliminated government? Well, everyone would have to provide for their own self-defense, which is a good thing in a lot of ways, certainly. But also it could be a bad thing in a lot of ways also, because the same thing that already happened could happen again, but it could be worse, which is that factions would inevitably develop, and groups would inevitably develop, and they would be banding together for both, defense, but also questionable defense, and maybe a little offense mixed in. So they might be aggressing towards all kinds of different actors with their groups of defense forces and using offense instead of defense, which, by the way, already happens in the current system. The current system is always aggressing and violating people's rights all the time. But like, what if the government just disappeared itself and the government just eliminated itself, and we had another, like, we just had total private free market? But it would be we would start with a developed world, which already had all the technology now that we have. So, but we wouldn't have the government to referee the whole thing. The government right now, it is in the pocket to a large extent of all the corporations, the banks, and a lot of the rich and all that. But also, it has to, because it's the government, it also has to account for all the small little people also. So it has to provide a lot of outlets for little people and small business and other people to make it, and to be able to move up, and also to get assistance if, theoretically, if they need it, even though the assistance system is totally bullshit. And like the small people and middle class and working class and poor are getting ripped off all the time, more than anyone else, and they get less welfare than the rich and the elite. And the elite and the rich get the most welfare of anyone. They just use the tax money from the middle class and the working class, and they get all sorts of incredible sweetheart welfare deals. But if the government also has to protect in a lot of different ways with subsidies and welfare and all kinds of benefits and stuff, and roads and everything, and mass transit. They have to provide like a minimum for the working class, middle class, and poor people. But like if we went to a private free market, well then actually it could be worse for the middle class and the poor people in a lot of ways. It could be even worse for them, because everyone who controls everything right now would be able to just buy up everything and control everything to the nth degree. They could control, they control 90% of everything right now. If we eliminated the government, they would probably buy up everything and control 99.9999% of everything. So just because we go to a private system now doesn't guarantee that things will be better for most people, because unless we just totally auctioned off everything and seized everyone's assets from top to bottom and just apportioned everything equally to everyone in the world or everyone in New Zealand or so like whenever you talk about something, you have to define your terms. So how do we define going to a private free market? Do we define it as everyone gets to keep what they have right now, and then we just make all future transactions private, or do we auction off everything or split up everything that everyone has and everyone gets an equal share? Which I'm not sure what that would be. Maybe it would be like everyone gets like $5. So yeah, so it also depends on how you define going back to a totally private free market. But but you know, there's a lot of problems with either choice, because if you just split everything up, well, then there would be, well, a lot of people are not, you can't split up private yachts, and you can't split up, you know, Lexus or Toyota Highlanders, and you can't split up you know, bridges and tunnel systems. So how would you split everything up? Which also brings up the idea of the universal income, which I actually don't think is I think it's a pretty decent idea that everyone gets a basic income, because a lot of people aren't even given a job. like a lot of people want a job just to be able to make some money so they can do a bare minimum of what they want to do, and they can't even get a job, any kind of job at all, to get a bare minimum of anything. And there's no basic income, so they have nothing. So they get to do nothing, and they get to participate zero, and they get absolutely zero, you know. And like other people are given jobs at like McDonald's and the Barnes and Noble and all that, and they at least get to go to the movies and have dinner out sometimes at, you know, at Wendy's. But so like you have to define your terms. So what do we mean when we go to a private free market, or what do we mean by, you know, whatever we say? And like it's so complex when you think about it. You know, like how do you convert how do you convert the Hoover Dam into a private free market? And how do you convert Con Edison or like the New Zealand Electric Company to the free market? You auction it off, but only the people with a lot of money can buy it, so it ends up being the same thing. So what do we want to do? Do we want to split up everything, the value of everything, and give everyone an equal share? That's what libertarians actually propose. They propose that everyone gets an equal share, and then everyone gets to bid on everything. Maybe is a possible idea. And then again, no one would be able to afford anything, because everyone would have $5 or everyone would have $1,000. So what would the yachts be worth? What would the office buildings be worth? I guess people would have to get together in groups and bid on buildings, yachts, aircraft, and all that. And the public would take together into groups, and, you know, combine their $1,000 and like bid on 747s and 787s. So how would that work? How would people do that? So the whole thing is just impossible. But on the other hand, the present system is impossible. The present system, the only people who won everything 1,000 years ago, like the same families in Europe from like 1,000 years ago, still 5%, and they still families in Europe. the same all over the world. And but on the other hand, new millionaires and new billionaires are happening all the time. So the market system, or the world, the world system is working to a certain extent. But for unfortunate people and people who are not lucky, and for people who things don't work out for, it doesn't work. Like people who say that the system works, and I've said this before, they're just lying and fooling themselves. And the system does not work for everyone. It doesn't work for a lot of the people, because there's like 8 billion people in the world, and like the vast majority of them are poor. And even in the developed nations, even in America and Europe, a lot of people don't have jobs, and a lot of people don't even have any income or money whatsoever, and they can't do a fucking thing. They can't do a goddamn thing. So it actually makes me think that a universal basic income in the developed world is actually a very, very good thing, and but then again, that would be very expensive too. But I would like to see the economics on that. Like, what would it cost what would it cost Switzerland or America to give everyone a basic income of like $15,000 a year? But Donald Trump wrote a book in the 1980s about this, and he said that the first $15,000 should be tax-free that you earn, and then after $15,000, the next $30,000 should be taxed at like 10% or something, and then after the $45,000, everything after that should be taxed at 15%. So that is probably one good answer. Instead of maybe universal income, just have totally tax-free for the first amount of money you make. But then the same problem still happens, which is that the elite and the establishment and the government still control and regulate everything. So like the solution is very elusive. So it's a very complex problem, but so there's really no clear answer, except that the libertarians are right about a lot of issues, and like a lot of things should be the way the libertarians support. But if you presume that we keep the government, courts, police, and self-defense, so the libertarians are mostly right. The big L libertarians are mostly right that we keep the basic government operations, the necessary government operations, the courts, the police, and the self-defense, and everything else should revert to the free market. That's probably the best things that could happen, and then everyone else could work their way up, and the rich could keep what they earned. Even though, by the way, a lot of what the rich earned, they did not really earn. It was just given to them as well, government welfare, because they get so much government welfare, tax breaks, and other subsidies and welfare. So a lot of what they earned, they didn't really earn. But which brings up the point that it's just not fair. Which is actually what Mark Zuckerberg and Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, or a lot of those people, say, is that it's just a lot of luck, actually, and that it's really not fair, and so we should have higher taxes. Except taxes are always wasted, so they're wrong about that, because taxes are always a bad thing, because the government always wastes every single cent that it gets. So higher taxes is not a solution, which is that we go back to a free market system, except for the court system, the police, and the self-defense. So maybe we should all join. Maybe the New Zealand should join the Libertarian Party. So that concludes today's episode. Thank you very much.